Hi, this is Courtney from Color and Light Company, and I want to welcome you to the channel here. Today in this video, we are going to be cutting out the pattern from this Drop of Sunshine design from Glassy Leaf Studios. So hopefully by now you have visited Glassy Leaf Studios and printed this pattern out on a thicker type of paper. This is a cardstock that I just got from Office Depot. Anything with a little bit more toughness that can withstand a Sharpie and cutting will do great. So if you haven't already, pause the video and go visit them and purchase either your hobby or your commercial license. The main difference being that the commercial license is a little bit more money, but it gives you the legal ability to sell the physical products that you make from this pattern. So it's awesome. You can sell them at market, you can put them on your website. It's always good form to give the designer props, and of course with the hobby license it is a cheaper license, but you can still make beautiful products for yourself and to give away to family and friends. So if you haven't already, go ahead and visit Glassy Leaf Studios and purchase one of those two license, print out the pattern, and we'll come back here to kind of get started. All right, so welcome back to the channel if you did pause the video. If not, hey, what's up? So this particular video is a little bit more geared toward the beginner stained glass enthusiast, we'll say. So please forgive me if some of this information is a little bit too rudimentary for you, but I just want to make sure that I'm thorough and that people do get a lot of value out of these tutorials. So in stained glass, of course, you always want your regular old scissors here. These have a little bit of yuck on them, so I will try to take, there you go, you can kind of see it. I will try to clean that off with some rubbing alcohol just to make sure it's nice and clean, it doesn't catch on the paper. And when you're working in stained glass, you'll have two types of specialized scissors. I only have one today, but we are working in copper foil, so I have a pair of foil scissors that we will be using. And I don't know if you can see right there, it says foil, and I sometimes feel like I can't think, so I did write foil shears on here, but like I said, it's definitely right there where you can see it plain and simple. So these are very special and unique to stained glass because they have, you can see, let's see if it'll make me do this here. There we go. It's got 3 blades on it. So if we flip it over, you can kind of see it. It's going to cut out a little piece of paper when you cut it. It's going to create kind of a little track. And what that does is you'll have 2 pieces of copper foil like this, because we're doing the copper foil method. You're going to wrap your individual pieces of glass with these. So you're going to have 2 of those copper foil pieces butted up together, and that is the exact width of these pair of scissors actually cut out. So it's kind of cool. I'll give you a view again here. So you definitely want to get these. And I've gotten most of my tools from Hobby Lobby, the local Hobby Lobby, or of course you can order them online. And hey, if you have a minute, can you comment below if you're a beginner or if you are an enthusiast interested in stained glass, what has been the main thing holding you back from really dipping your toe in? Is it the cost of the tools and materials? Is it just the basic not knowing how to get started? Or is it possibly safety precautions? So when transferring a pattern to glass, there's many different ways to do it, and hopefully we'll get the opportunity to go through all those different ways in this channel. But you want to look at your pattern and you want to take a minute. I know it's hard to slow down in life these days, but take a minute and look at your pattern and think about a strategy in cutting it out. You will have to think about this also when you're laying out the pattern on your glass and cutting out that pattern on your glass. I like to think of it in 2 ways. One, what are the trickiest cuts to make, the ones that are most vulnerable? That's one thing to consider. And another thing to consider is basically efficiency. What can you do with one broad stroke or one broad cut, so to speak? That will help you a lot. Now with this particular pattern, I have cut it out a few times, and I know for me, It's best for me if I start with this half circle shape first and then cut out my individual rays. The reason for this, and we are all different, there's no necessarily wrong way to do this, but for me, when I have cut the rays out first, you have to stop up at that circle point, and then the rays are kind of flopping around until I cut this, and then they fall to the ground. So I like doing the half circle first and then the rays, because the rays kind of support themselves and make it a little bit easier and neater to cut out. That being said, you do you, and you do what feels best and most comfortable. And if you're like me, you have to do it the wrong way first to prove to yourself it's the wrong way, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. All right, so I zoomed in a little bit more. With my setup, I actually have a microphone stand, and I've got this weird clip for the phone, so hopefully it's going to work out. My husband's a musician, so I'm just using what I have and trying to be efficient myself. Like we talked about earlier, you will need 2 pairs of scissors. You will need just a regular old pair, and you will need your foil shears. It has been asked in some of the in-person classes that I teach is, do I need to buy the foil shears? Can I just cut around each of these thick lines? You can, but do you want to? You're creating twice the work for yourself, and I think these scissors are $10. But honestly, it's something, you will get addicted to stained glass. It happens to everybody once you get over the learning curve, and you will probably want to go ahead and invest in some of these shears. Start with foil, because it's a little bit more hands-on. You can get a little bit more understanding of things, and then you can move on to lead, which is a totally different pair of shears with a little bit more of a curve here, a little bit more of a space. So what I like to do for all of this is I don't like stuff flopping around, and again, this is just what I do. I like to cut off some of the extra and get it out of the way. All right, let me see how close I can get to this. All right, so I do like to start cutting out the periphery of the pattern, so cutting the complete pattern out, and I like to start, hopefully you can see, on the inside of the line, so the line that's closest to the actual design. If this gets too boring, I can speed it up, but I really want it to be something that you can watch me do. So I'm taking my time. It's super important in this medium. I don't know whether to call it art or craft or whatnot. I am not a confident artist, but I love to build things, and I absolutely love to support talented artists, especially ones that are on like Etsy. Oh, we try to not get that shadow in there. I'm doing this in the middle of the day, so maybe my setup will be a little bit kinder in future videos and you can see what I'm doing. All right, so as you can see, I've cut the inside of that black line away. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so we're just going to continue that with the rest of the piece. And there's a lot of times where you hear people talk about pieces of stained glass that are made, and gosh, boy, why are they so expensive? And you'll find out why toward the end of this process. The tools and materials are not the cheapest, and it is a pretty time-consuming hobby, art, craft, whatever we're calling it. What are your thoughts on art, hobby, and craft? Put that in the comments below there. So here we have our drop of sunshine, so you can really get an idea of what it's going to look like. Again, it's pretty big. If I got this for a gift, I would be pretty stoked, so hopefully you can give this to somebody. Now, we are going to use our foil shears, our fancy foil shears. As you can see, this one's got a little bit of paper left over from, you can't see, let me try to focus that. Yeah. It's got a little bit of paper left over from the last project, but that is a-okay. It will just kind of clear as we go. So like I said, for me, I like to cut out this circle first, this half circle first, and that's so the rays can kind of support themselves. Now these are a little bit tricky. What I like to do is kind of get a bird's eye view. See if I can get kind of close. Eek. Okay, bird's eye view. I'm going to just do a little bit there. I'm going to kind of pick one side to favor. So I'm going to favor the inside. So I'm going to line up this side with that line. Now, I really don't want to take the scissors away from this cut. I'm going to basically create like a little track. As you can see, it needs to stay on the track. That's just for ease. If for some reason you have to stop, not the end of the world. It's okay. Sorry for the dramatic lighting. All right, so we're gonna keep going. Things like this, I try not to crumple up that piece of paper that's kind of curling up by me. Just try to go under it. Again, go slow, take your time, and you will get there. The ends are a little bit tricky sometimes. They want to straighten out. Boom, okay. So we've got number 1. There we go. Now, as you can see, like I said before, these rays on the pattern are all supporting themselves. This is the little bit that you've cut out. Let's see if you can see. So it's almost perfect there. It's hard with printers and real life and measurements and stuff, but it does a pretty good job. So now we're gonna go and we're gonna cut out these little rays. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer here. That might be nice. So again, I like to start little. This one's actually pretty big run there. So I'm actually gonna go into the scissors a little bit more. I'm going slow, letting that guy fall. We don't have extra coming off yet, which is okay. Again, this is a short line, so we're just gonna hit that line. This one's getting a little bit longer. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna press down until I'm about halfway through the scissors. Then as you can see, I kind of open the scissors back up on that track, and that just helps with keeping that line a little bit smoother and getting rid of some of that jagged quality. I try to keep the paper flat. I don't want to curl it, mush it, anything like that, because it is going to be a pattern here. Or it is a pattern, but I want it to be straight. So you're basically making a puzzle, as you can see. Let's see if I can get into that a little bit more. I do apologize if some of these angles and lighting aren't working. It'll get better, I promise. That's what it's all about. Process. So here I can start on the curve. I know this is really picky, but I can also start here, which might be a little bit easier for my scissors to kind of attach to, because it's a little bit flatter going in. Up to you again. Now imagine when you're doing these huge window panels with tons of pieces, it can get pretty time consuming. So I know people that do some really large panels and just do like 10 pieces a day, and they're fine. All right, so look, we've got it all ready to go. All right, so right now we have an extra copy that we will put in a plastic sleeve, or you can laminate it. It's called a cartoon. It's just like your guide, your main pattern. And just doing this because it's fun. Because look what we did, we cut out a whole pattern, and now we can start that process of transferring it to glass. And this always happens, one piece gets away. Where did he go? There he is, he's on the floor. All right, here we go. There, boom, all right. So really the next part is going to pick out our glasses. We can look at color, we can look at texture. This is your personal preference, or really just what you have available. It's such an expensive art form that, hey, let's just take advantage of what we do have, and if it's a hot mess, it's okay, it's still beautiful. You can let all the color and light kind of shine through with it. And there we have it. We have cut out the entire pattern for this long drop of sunshine variation from Glassy Leaf Studios, and we are going to get ready to go into the next steps here in the next video. I really do hope that this video has been helpful in some capacity. I know it's just a beginning step, but I want to take it slow for beginners so you can really kind of see that process evolve. If you have any comments, please put them in the comment section below. You know, it's not your first time on YouTube. You know how to do this. If you have any questions, post them below. Requests, post them below. Thank you so much for listening to me, and have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.